Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema Season 2, Episode 7. On our last show, we witnessed the Dead End pay-per-view. Rico DMF would unify the B4W and the BWL championships, and I unified our mid-card titles, the United States title and the BWL television title. And the team of TJ Money and Mr. Benjamins, collectively known as the High Rollers, scored a tag team victory. Now on this show, myself and Tommy Thunder, collectively known as Mac and Cheese, would open the show, and it was clear that there were issues between the two of us. The real reason was because we loved wrestling each other so much that we wanted to cause friction and start a program and start wrestling each other again. Now, we also love teaming together, but if you've ever been involved in wrestling, you know that competing against somebody that you're really good friends with is always more fun than just teaming with them. Now, in case you're worried, Dynamic Danny is back. If you've been following this series, you may be familiar with Dynamic Danny. He's largely known amongst my friends as one of the worst wrestlers who ever wrestled with us. And that's a title he would hold until 2006. But speaking of titles, the hardcore title is on the line as Dynamic Danny takes on Mumbles and Cobain, and the winner would walk away as the brand new B4W hardcore champion.
I'm in the face of that thing. Oh, Cobain goes down.
Now, what made Dynamic Danny so bad?
Oh, a kick by Cobain.
I mean, we were all terrible. Well, he would hit you as hard as he possibly could and then run away like a scared cat anytime you tried to mount any offense. It's kind of like in improv. If you're always wanting to add to the story, so you always want to bump and sell for your opponent, right? So in improv, it's known as yes and Dynamic Danny was very much a no kind of guy. It was an empty tire. What are you doing? Mercifully, it was over and Mumbles got the victory and was the new B4W hardcore champion. But don't worry, Dynamic Danny got right back up and hit everybody as hard as he possibly could with a broken steel chair. Now that our BWL invasion angle was over, BWL was the group that came in and was invading our company, B4W. And now that that angle was officially over, we wanted to start luring in and keeping a lot of the roster members, and we needed a way to explain it on TV, why these guys were now a part of the show week after their company, quote-unquote, lost the war. The first person we brought in was Mr. Benjamins. And on this first show out, we signed him to an official B4W contract. And I know what you're thinking, we really outdid ourselves. We really outdid the budget on this one. That is the fanciest glass table I've ever seen in the middle of a backyard. Myself as Denver Street versus Tommy Thunder for the United States title was up next.
Can we see here? Oh!
And in this one, Tommy Thunder won the match and won the championship. Now this comes 1 week after I had unified the United States title and the BWL television title. So long-term storytelling it wasn't.
Oh! Going for the lightning bolt. He nails it! Could this be it? 1, 2, 3! Tommy Thunder has done it after a grueling and vicious battle. He is the new United States.
But what can I tell you? We were young kids, didn't know wrestling booking. We were just doing what we thought was fun. As I mentioned earlier, we signed Mr. Benjamins to a contract, and part of that contract was that he got a B4W world title shot, or as we were calling it now, a unified title shot. And we wasted no time giving that match away for free, as he took on Rico DMF for that unified championship. The idea here was to elevate Mr. Benjamins, just like Rico had done a few weeks prior with TJ Money, who was Mr. Benjamin's tag team partner. It should be noted that Mr. Benjamins had no wrestling experience. I mean, he didn't even watch wrestling. And that's going to be important as this series goes on. Rico DMF got the win, kept the unified championship.
Benjamin on Rico DMF there. Oh, kicked up. Went for the Benjamizer. Rico's having none of it. Throws him out of the ring. Oh, knees him right to the gut. Go for the free fall. Nails him. That could be all. 1, 2, 3. That is why Rico DMF is the unified champion.
Rico DMF.
But that wasn't all. The new High Rollers were formed with Mumbles, Cobain, and Mr. Benjamins.
Bravo, Rico!
Oh! They just spiked Rico.
Oh! What's up, boys? Welcome back.
Right after this match, we threw up a graphic that explained that, the show's not over. We had an extra match that we filmed on a random day, and here was our explanation for it. And that was really one of Rico DMF's storytelling devices. Rico would help me edit the shows, or I would edit the shows. One of the two of us would always be at public access, and he was a big proponent of throwing text up there to explain what was going on. That's one of my least favorite storytelling devices. I always try to avoid it, but it's preference, right? Everybody's got their own thing, and that was always a big thing for him, was throwing up a graphic explaining what was going on. I personally hate text to explain exposition 9 times out of 10. Also, it was misspelled, so whatever, it's a backyard wrestling show. This was AJ Mumbles defending the hardcore title against Tommy Thunder.
He nailed it! The Boston Crab! That's a Boston Crab, folks! He has the full sitting extension.
And Mr. Benjamins would come out and cost Tommy Thunder the match in this one. And we were setting up a program between Mr. Benjamins and Tommy Thunder that would build to a United States title match at our next pay-per-view. Everything was starting to fall in line. We were finally finding a steady roster, and it seemed like we were able to kind of get shows together whenever we wanted to, and people were always available now, whereas in years past it was hard to get a show together because of everybody's schedule. Now that the TV show was starting to work out, we were actually forming a full-time schedule where we were going to wrestle on a particular day every single week, and the show was going to become more structured, and there'd be more vignettes, and there'd be more matches, and there'd be more wrestlers, and there'd be more drama. And you cannot imagine the bickering and the fighting that occurred over these electric tape belts in 2002 in a backyard in Jackson, New Jersey. But stay tuned, because we're going to get into all of it.
TKO, the Tommy knockout. Oh, in the middle of the ring. 1, 2. Kick out by Mumble. Defeated the...
Plan.
Oh, hey, Benjamin's over the rope.